Karoline Leavitt sat poised at the witness table in a packed congressional hearing room, her sharp blue suit a bold contrast against the wood-paneled walls. Just moments earlier, Congressman Adam Schiff had leaned into his mic with a smug smile and said, "Miss Leavitt, your youth and inexperience are showing." The jab drew murmurs as reporters typed furiously and millions watched live, but Leavitt didn't flinch. At just 26, the former Trump White House press aide was used to being underestimated this time. Schiff had made a serious mistake. In front of her lay a leather portfolio with documents no one expected. What came next would flip the hearing and Washington on its head. Across from her sat Congressman Adam Schiff, the 62-year-old Democrat known for his sharp questioning and flair for turning hearings into headlines. The session, meant to review information security after a major classified leak, had quickly turned partisan. Though not the main witness, Karoline Leavitt had been invited by Republicans to speak on communication protocols from her time in the Trump White House. Schiff seized the moment. "Ms. Leavitt," he said, peering over his glasses, "you defend the last administration's handling of documents, yet that same administration saw unprecedented breaches, including classified talks at Mar-a-Lago. Why should this committee take your guidance seriously?" It was a calculated attempt to undercut her credibility. My committee chair Mike Turner stepped in, urging focus on policy, not personal attacks. Schiff replied smoothly, "Just establishing her expertise, Mr. Chairman." Leavitt calmly took a sip of water, betraying nothing. The stakes were obvious. Her career and credibility hung in the balance. Washington was watching. What no one in the room knew was that Karoline Leavitt had anticipated this exact line of attack. During her White House tenure, she had reviewed intelligence briefings that directly involved Schiff's own handling of sensitive information. Briefings recently declassified through obscure channels just days earlier. "Congressman Schiff," she began calmly, "I appreciate your concerns about proper handling of classified material, something I've studied closely, including your committee's practices over the past 6 years." Schiff's expression shifted just slightly. He hadn't expected this. "Ms. Leavitt," he countered, "we're here to discuss current security concerns, not rehash partisan issues." "This isn't partisan," she replied, opening her portfolio. "This is about consistent standards for anyone entrusted with national security." She removed a folder stamped declassified. The energy in the room changed. Members leaned in. "Mr. Chairman," she said to Representative Turner, "I've been cleared to share documents directly relevant to this committee's conduct. May I proceed?" Turner, surprised, nodded. "Proceed." As she began organizing the papers, Schiff quickly signaled to his staff. He understood the narrative was slipping out of his control. As Leavitt calmly prepared her documents, Leavitt leaned toward the chair. "Point of order, Mr. Chairman," he said, tension rising in his voice. "We've received no verification of these materials. The committee deserves to know their source before they're discussed." Chairman Turner turned to Leavitt. "Leavitt, can you clarify the origin of these documents?" Without hesitation, she replied. "They were declassified 3 days ago via Directive 14 by the current National Security Council. They include logs, transmission records, and internal reviews from 2019 to 2022. She held up a stamped cover sheet bearing official codes. Staffer reviewed it and quietly conferred with the chairman, whose tightened grip on his pen hinted. At his surprise, "We'll proceed," Turner said. "But the witness is reminded to handle operational details with care." The room fell still. Democratic aides scrambled on their phones. Leavitt looked directly at Schiff. "Moments ago, you questioned my grasp of security protocols and accused the prior administration of carelessness. These documents suggest otherwise." She held up a log dated May 2020 detailing a serious breach classified intel from a closed session had been sent outside approved channels. Schiff's face didn't move, but his grip on the mic did. "Ms. Leavitt," he said tightly, without reviewing these so-called documents, "I reject any suggestion of misconduct under my leadership." "I understand your concern, Congressman," Leavitt said calmly, sliding a document into the projector. The redacted file appeared on the screen behind herky headers and dates clearly visible. Schiff's name listed under individuals involved. Gasps spread through the room. "This security review," Leavitt continued, Shows classified signal intelligence was leaked from your committee office to 3. Media contacts violating Section 3.2 of your own protocols. The breach forced changes to active intelligence operations, costing national security dearly. Republican members leaned in, while Democrats whispered urgently. Schiff's aide scribbled notes and passed them forward. Ms. Leavitt, Schiff said tightly, this is a politically motivated attack using selectively edited documents without context. Leavitt didn't blink. Every document has been declassified and authenticated by officials in the current administration, people you've praised as credible. If you doubt them, take it up with the NSC. She held up a second file. This December 2021 assessment is worse. It links leaked human intel from your committee to a Washington Post article days later, details only your office had. The room fell silent. No one moved. The usual background hum of whispers and typing had vanished. Staffers along the wall had stopped everything to watch. Representative Darren LaHood, a Republican from Illinois, broke the silence. Ms. Leavitt, just to confirm, these security breaches happened under current committee leadership and were documented by intelligence agencies, but never disclosed to us or the public? That's correct, Leavitt replied. These reviews were done by career officials, not political appointees. Multiple violations from 2019 to 2022 with no public accountability. She displayed a third document. This shows certain committee leaders were exempt from the usual security violation procedures. Schiff, now visibly tense, snapped, Mr. Chairman, this is outrageous. She's cherry-picking declassified material to mislead. Leavitt cut in, firm but composed. With respect, Congressman, everything presented is legally declassified. I'm simply letting the intelligence community's own findings speak. The room crackled with tension. Chairman Turner, sensing the gravity, called for a recess. We'll break for 15 minutes to review these materials. There's no outside discussion. Until we reconvene. As members exited, reporters rushed to file early stories, though only those inside knew just how serious things had become. What began as Congressman Schiff's attempt to discredit a young conservative quickly escalated into one of the most serious intelligence controversies since the Church Committee era. In the hallway, lawmakers exchanged tense whispers, some admitting they had never seen or heard of the security reviews Leavitt exposed. Back inside, she sat composed, calmly reviewing her notes as the clock ticked down on the recess. When the committee reconvened, the mood had shifted entirely. Partisan posturing gave way to unease. Several Democrats were absent, and extra Republican members had arrived. Chairman Turner reopened the session with unexpected gravity, confirming the documents presented by Leavitt had been authenticated and announcing that a full review would be scheduled separately. He turned to Schiff, now silent, as the weight of the revelations settled over the room. Schiff requested 5 minutes to respond, his usual confidence replaced by a stiff formality. What we're witnessing is a partisan stunt, he said, rejecting any claims of mishandling classified information. These documents are cherry-picked and lack context. I stand by my record. Congresswoman Elise Stefanik cut in, calling out Schiff for attacking the witness instead of addressing the confirmed documents. Chairman Turner agreed, urging members to focus on substance. Schiff, jaw tight, reiterated his point, but avoided any specific rebuttals. Turner then turned back to Leavitt. Ms. Leavitt, you indicated you have more information. She nodded calmly. Yes, Mr. Chairman, to address Congressman Schiff's concern about context. I'm presenting a comprehensive analysis to classify by the ODN, or reviewing all documented security violations across congressional committees from 2018 to 2022. The moment now hinged on what came next. Leavitt placed the final document in the projector, revealing a bar graph showing security violations by congressional committee. One bar towered over the rest, 27 documented breaches under Congressman Schiff's leadership, more than triple any other committee. 14 of these, she said, quoting the report, involved unauthorized disclosures to the media in ways that suggest a systematic, not accidental, use of classified info to shape narratives. The room went still. She turned to a timeline, showing 11 instances where Schiff made public claims shortly after classified leaks tied to his committee. Then came the most serious charge, a September 2020 leak after a closed intelligence briefing had, according to an NSA assessment, compromised signal intelligence and forced the shutdown of a live counterintelligence operation. Schiff's face had gone pale. This was no longer just political. It was a national security crisis. Leavitt displayed a redacted but clear email from the NSA director to the DNI, naming Congressman Schiff and expressing grave concern over repeated leaks following classified briefings. The evidence was precise and overwhelming. This wasn't politics, but a documented pattern confirmed by the intelligence community. Chairman Turner, acknowledging the moment's weight, announced the committee would review the materials and consider a formal investigation. Schiff, visibly shaken, tried to object, requesting the documents be removed from public display. But Leavitt was ready. She held up the signed declassification order from Biden's own DNI. These documents are fully authorized. The public deserves the truth, she said. What began as an attempt to dismiss her as inexperienced ended with Leavitt methodically exposing one of the most powerful Democrats in Washington. As the hearing ended, reporters rushed to file updates, recognizing the magnitude of what had just happened. By nightfall, the media was calling it the Leavitt revelation, a bombshell oversight moment rivaling the Pentagon Papers. With headlines across the spectrum confirming the damage, Schiff exposed classified intel leaked repeatedly under his watch. While CNN cautiously reported that the documents raised concerns about Intelligence Committee security, even the Washington Post, implicated in the leaks, ran a front page story. Declassified reports allege pattern of security violations. Under Schiff's leadership, on Capitol Hill, the fallout was immediate. Speaker Mike Johnson announced a bipartisan investigative committee, emphasizing the issue transcended politics and cut to national security. Democratic leadership wavered. Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries initially called it a distraction, but within 24 hours, 7 Democratic members, many with military backgrounds, called for a full investigation. Schiff's Senate campaign took a hit as major donors pulled support and senior staffers resigned. The House Ethics Committee launched a preliminary inquiry, and in a stunning move, the current Director of National Intelligence confirmed the documents' authenticity and announced a full review of classified info sharing with Congress. Media coverage praised Karoline Leavitt's poise and precision, with both parties acknowledging her as the driving force behind one of the most significant intelligence oversight reckonings in recent memory. What we witnessed wasn't luck, it was a masterclass, said former White House Comms Director Jen Psaki. On MSNBC, she praised Leavitt's preparation, timing, and composure as she revealed information that shook Washington. Conservative media quickly hailed her as a hero. Her social following surged by over 500,000 in 2 days, and speaking requests flooded in. Trump called her a brave patriot, while Leavitt herself stayed disciplined, stating, "This was never about politics. It was about accountability." The impact spread fast. Congress tightened security protocols. Several members quietly left intelligence committees, and bipartisan legislation was introduced to protect whistleblowers reporting improper handling of classified info. 3 months later, a bipartisan committee report confirmed Leavitt's core claims and found a consistent pattern of leaks under Schiff's leadership. While he avoided charges due to congressional protections, Schiff's political future collapsed. His Senate campaign suspended, and he was sidelined from any classified committee work. 6 months later, the fallout continued. Top of form, bottom of form, Karoline Leavitt was soon appointed communications director for a major presidential campaigns, cementing her rise into the highest levels of U.S. politics at just 27. Her handling of the Schiff revelations earned praise across party lines, with Time magazine calling her part of Washington's new generation. What began as an attempt to dismiss her as naive turned into a defining moment, one that exposed deep complacency within the system. Senior intelligence official told Time, if Schiff hadn't tried to diminish her, none of this might have come to light. The confrontation proved that, in Washington, arrogance often precedes downfall, and underestimated voices can carry the most damning truths. In its aftermath, congressional hearings grew more cautious, signaling the end of an era where young operatives could be publicly dismissed without consequence.